Good morning. I'm going to start off by asking each and every one a simple question. What brought you to church here today? Something to contemplate on. Some of us come to church because it's a tradition that we normally go to church on Sundays in whatever religion which we're practicing. Some of us come to church in hopes that we may meet up with someone that we haven't met in quite a while. Others, and again, there's various excuses for us coming to church. But if you search deep within your heart, what really brought you to church today? What is it that you're looking for, or hopefully to hear, that's going to set that spark within you to acknowledge? And how many of you have heard that word self-realization? Okay? And that has a lot of different meanings depending on what practices you're searching in. The self-realization, it's becoming aware of that perhaps you're doing something and you caught yourself, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. That's a form of self-realization, okay? So when I was last here, we spoke about thoughts and beliefs, and I want to continue that from a different perspective. And so today's topic is in search of the ultimate experience. And ultimate has several different meanings or connotations, if you will. Ultimate meaning the last, or the last in a series of events or of experiences. And we're always in the series of experiences. We jump from one experience to another. And we label those experiences according to our perception. What we understand about the experience, how we perceive, or the outcomes of it. And there's also another word that goes in line with perception, is perspective. We have the choice to, because our experiences are neither good or bad until we label them according to how we experienced what it was that we experienced. If it had a lesson for us, then we will perhaps look at it from a different perspective, say, oh, that wasn't so bad because I learned this. Okay, so experiences are a way of us to learn, okay? And so the dynamics behind experience is, in fact, that, to learn. When I was last year, we spoke about how we are taught as children not to put our hands on the stove. And yet that child, at some point in his life, will put his hand on the stove. Why? Not because he didn't believe his parents that the stove was hot. He did it because he needs to experience for himself firsthand that the stove was hot, and perhaps never do it again. So now we have this child crying in tears with a blistered little hand, and the lesson painfully learned. Okay? So, again, what brought us to church today? What is it that we're seeking to experience, again, or hear? Sometimes we hear, but we're really not listening, because listening involves going into your heart space and close off the mind so that we can take in what we're meant to take in. Experience what we're meant to take in via whatever word Spirit has chosen for me to give to you today. Because most of the writing that I've done, it's Spirit inspired. At the end you will see, again, another version of experience, the final experience, which is the poem that Spirit gave me to write. Okay, so what is it about our thoughts and beliefs that keep us always searching for that next thing? And we're searching, and half of the time we don't really even know what we're searching for. We go here, we go there, to all many different churches perhaps, because some of us wound up here coming from a different religious aspect. Like I myself, my father was Catholic and my mother was a medium. So I had both, and to me there was really no distinction. Religion is religion. Until you start questioning for yourself, what is it that drew me to this religion? In those cases, if we're children, our parents drag us to church, and we get to some point where we don't no longer believe those doctrines or those dogmas or those creeds or whatever the church is pushing, whatever the agenda is. So we have to discern for ourselves, just like when we have an experience, was this valid for me? What did I learn? What did I get out of it? The same thing with religion. Again, why did you come to church today? Okay? And sometimes we just come for no other reason, just to show up. Okay, to show up because we want to impress our friends that we're church-going people. And the minute we step out, it's a whole different character. Okay? So, again, I pose the question to you. What drove you to church today? What is it that you expect me to say to you that's going to trigger that little light within you to have that ultimate experience? And by the way, we're constantly experiencing. We're going from one experience to another, labeling everything along our way because we humans like to put those little stickers identifying things. Okay? But when we go in, we shut off the mind and listen, again with the heart, not the ears. Listen with the heart. Listen to the dialogue that we have with ourselves. And in those silent moments, it's when those little triggers go off, where we have a resonance with whatever we've been given or whatever we're hearing. And by the way, resonance can be a biased resonance. You may be hearing and have a resonance with what I'm saying, but until you experience what I'm saying, then it becomes a whole different ballgame. Because now you know firsthand that it's just not words. Because just like that child putting his hands on that stove, learn firsthand in whatever way you're meant to learn those lessons. Okay, so back again. And I want to drive this point so that you can really understand what is it that's driving you to follow whatever religion. What brought you to church today? Question yourself. Not just now while you're sitting in the pew, when you go back home and you get the chance to settle down and have experienced the entire day, now you're at rest. Okay? Question is, why did I go to church today? What did I learn? To do or not to do, because we're constantly being told, don't do this and do that. Even as adults, we're constantly told, do this and don't do that. We tell ourselves, I shouldn't have done this, or I'm going to do that. Again, those are opportunities to experience different things from different perspectives. And when we put them in a different perspective, then we've learned the value of the lesson. Okay? And then that, the old traditional thing is the glass half empty or half full. That's how we experience life. We'll stick that label on, oh, that wasn't so good. So the glass is half empty. But if you had a good experience, then the glass is full. And sometimes perhaps even overflowing with joy or with whatever. Again, perspective. Perspective. How we view things. Are we the victims? Or are we the benefactors of the experience? Does life happen to you? Or does life happen for you? I had a conversation with my brother that I went to his house because no matter where he goes, he gets into an argument. Sometimes valid, sometimes not so much, because he perceives the world one way, and the world just goes around him regardless. Okay? In spite of ourselves, the world would continue to flow. So I went to his house and said, does life happen to you, or does life happen for you? Without even thinking, he said, oh, life happens to me. Based on his experience that everywhere he goes, he gets into an argument. Even when people are trying to help him, he'll still get an argument because he's in his mindset, setting the day, that when he goes out there, he knows he's going to get into an argument. Well, guess what? That's what you manifest. So you will get into an argument. Even when someone is trying to do their best, again, trying to help you. But when we set those mindsets that this is what we're going to do or not going to do, that's what we manifest. You know, we're constantly planting seeds. Here are thoughts. And in our religious manuals, it says, thoughts are things. So when we plant those seeds, it could be a day, 2 days, a month, a year, and now we see the bush in front of that. Where did that come from? Not realizing that we planted via our thoughts those seeds, and now they're being reflected back to us. Again, my brother, for example, he's already planted the seed that when he goes out there, he knows he's going to get into an argument, because the world should operate according to what his beliefs are. The world's not good or bad. The world revolves whether we're in it or not. Okay? Getting back, what brought you to church today? Has anything that I've said thus far resonated? Have you heard with these, or have you heard over here with this? Okay. And I'm pretty sure most of you have listened with this. Because when you do come to church, you come with the intention to learn something that's going to help you navigate your journey, your spiritual journey, whatever journey you want to call it. Again, putting a sticker on whatever the experience is that you're seeking for. But when we seek something consciously, we commit to it, we put our attention, we put our focus, and we put our energy into doing it. We're accomplishing that which we desire, not want. Because want will never get fulfilled. I want this, and then the next minute you want that. The next minute you want something else entirely different. And why do we do that? Because we don't take enough time to sit with ourselves and really think about what's important to us. Not the material things that when we go back to the spirit world, we're never going to take with us. Because everything that we have in this physical world is going to stay right here. We eat, we give it back to Mother Nature. We drink, we give it back to Mother Nature. Whatever we use goes back to Mother Nature. Even when we're done with this vessel, it goes back to Mother Nature. It's just loaned to us for the experiences that we are meant to have for this journey called life. And for some of us, life is not so easy. Again, the perspective what we put on it, or how we perceive life to be. Experiences are not good or bad. They're experiences. And that's why we come into this 3D world, also known as the school of learning. Learning through the physical vessel. Learning, but what are we actually learning? Perhaps the lessons, the experiences that drives those lessons, so that when we go back to the physical world, to the spiritual world, perhaps a little bit better, a little more enlightened. That's the only thing we're going to take back with us. What we did in service to our fellow man, via the experiences, the exchange of experiences to help your fellow man. And whether you realize it or not, we're all in service to one another in whatever way. You go to the store, the cashier is in service to you to take your money, or vice versa. You're at the store to get whatever you need, and there's always somebody that's in service to you, and you're in service to someone else. That's what life really is all about. But how do we conduct that service for our fellow man is what's of importance, because again, those are the only things that we're going to take back with us, back home to the spirit world. Life is filled with many experiences, and you get to choose how you're going to label those experiences. Playing the victim or being the benefactor of the lessons. And so, as I promised, one of the lessons, one of the poems that Spirit gave me, the final experience. The final experience, when death comes, there is no need to fear, for the Lord who gave life is near, and the Lord of return states, that which is his to him shall return. To him who gave it, that which belongs to Mother Earth will be in turn. There is no death, just the closing of the eyes, the withdrawal of his breath, and you find yourself on the other side. An uplifting of the spirit for a moment of rest, so it can continue to evolve and progress. The soul is an eternal divine spark. Its light will never go dark, and spirit life will always embark and depart to a new start, to fulfill the desires of the heart, to continue the journey towards perfection to resurrection, its progression, the evolution of the soul. Love is the purest of intention and the Father's soul expression. The quality of consciousness, its inherent characteristic, the synthesis of all manifestations, optimistic, humanistic, adoration, veneration, which reveals the purpose of all creation when man is no longer deluded of the purpose for which he has appeared. God's proclamation, the ultimate revelation, is that we're all essentially his creation. May you be blessed on your journey.